Things went from bad to worse in qualifying. Nico Rosberg got his timing right, but keen to impress on his debut, he overstepped the mark.
Give me some warning, please, okay?
You should have some warning because you'll see about 21 cars go past the end of the pit lane.
But Massa is just a knife edge from disaster. Villeneuve is out of the race. And lets everyone know about it. But there's contact. But 2 hot races proved too much for the Cosworth engine. Pole sitter Jenson Button leads the field onto the grid. But Montoya has already lost it. The McLarens battle each other, but there's mayhem further back. That's Massa out. Felipe had Klein on his left and Speed on his right. Klein gave him a nudge, the Ferrari hit Rosberg, and it's game over. Giancarlo will join them if he's not careful. Klein skidded out of the race. Michael is pushing hard to catch Button.
There's a safety car, mate, safety car, safety car.
Liuzzi's time is up. But another mistake by Montoya costs him 4th place. He hit the curb so severely that the engine safety system was activated. Conveniently, it grinds to a halt in front of the pit wall.
I'm really relaxed. Okay, mate, I'm fairly chilled out myself.
This isn't the blaze of glory Jenson was looking for. He doesn't make it across the line. At least Speed comes through the smoke and keeps Coulthard at bay to score his first F1 point.
Yeah, I mean, for sure the most intense experience was the very last corner because I went inside the second to last corner to make sure nothing happened with David. He couldn't get by. And I come out of the corner, there's a bunch of smoke everywhere. I couldn't see anything. I swear to God, it was like Days of Thunder. And I'm cruising through the last corner and I lose the rear end. I catch it, get back on the gas and through the smoke. And then they tell me I'm 8th. So, I mean, it was a crazy finish to a race for sure.
But there's trouble at the back.
I didn't see it coming, you know, it just started to roll over and that was it. And I have to say the impact was quite okay, you know, it was not really hard and, you know, we can see how safety Formula 1 is now in this moment.
Button is in for his second pit stop, but Alistair Gibson makes an error. The fuel nozzle is still connected. The broken nozzle has to be detached from the car in the middle of the pit lane, and the chance of a podium is gone. On his final flying lap, he came across an off-the-pace Villeneuve. And he didn't appreciate it. So he went to make his feelings absolutely clear.
Dai Giancarlo, vi parlate dopo.
Ma hai parlato dopo un cazzo!
Parlate dopo, dai Giancarlo.
Ma ha rovinato il giro, 13esimo per i cazzi suoi!
Vi parlate dopo, dai.
Non è giusto! Questa cosa
Alonso leads Michael and Massa into turn 1, but things are starting to go wrong further back. Ralph runs out of space, hits Liuzzi. Liuzzi spins and hits Kufa. Twice. Liuzzi's really in trouble. A broken front wing. A puncture. And this spin marks the end of his race.
And then the engine just stopped as well. That is kind of weird, but I don't know what happened.
The wrath of Alonso. Provisional pole sitter Michael is on his final run. The waved yellow flags ensure Alonso has no chance of setting pole position. Michael gestures angrily, but it's too late now. The session is over. And the verdicts are in.
I don't think it's fair. It's not fair at all against the drivers and against all Formula One people.
We know he's got a lot of tricks. But whether this one today was real, we'll probably only find out when he's 70, when he's had a glass of red every now and again.
Having seen the slow motion of the car and its motion as it was going in and in the middle and at the end of Rascasse, I have to believe that he could have avoided leaving the car where it was.
I just think it's cheap for the sport, you know, and somebody who's prepared to do cheap things like that should really consider if he's in the right sport, you know. Maybe he should do something. I think the time has come he should do something else.
All the talk is about Michael Schumacher's parking misdemeanor. He will start from the pit lane after his overnight penalty and disproves the theory that there's no overtaking in Monaco. It was a brave move. There was contact with DC and he was lucky not to overshoot the chicane. He's doing it again. This time he's perfected it at Villeneuve's expense.
Very, very, very disappointed, of course. Felt like I was on it, felt like we deserved something today, but it looks like something on the electronics or engine or something has let us down.
The safety car comes out, but Webber's not the only one who could use a rewind button. Second placed Kimi Raikkonen is out of the race. A small fire extinguishes Kimi's hopes of taking the victory and leaves him a long way from home. If he looks closely, race leader Alonso may catch a glimpse of Raikkonen relaxing in the harbour.
What's the situation in the race? Who is leading? Which position am I? Is David Coulthard a place behind me, or do I have to let him pass?
You are racing, David. You are racing, David.
It's all celebrations at Red Bull, although Christian Horner may well be regretting his words. He promised to jump naked into the harbour if a Red Bull driver finished on the podium. The Energy Station swimming pool proves more welcoming, while a cunningly pinned Superman cape saves his blushes. Button takes on Christian Klein, and both have to take evasive action from Speed, Ralf Schumacher and Webber. It's one way to gain places, but it's all over for some.
I was trying to go around the outside of Ralph in one of the Maggots and Beckett's corners, and it was actually working. I actually got alongside him a bit. But when we went into the right, I think it was such kind of an unexpected place to pass. He didn't quite see me, and we tangled.
Basically, it all started with my very bad start. Poor start. I lost too many positions, got into a mess, into the traffic, and couldn't do anything about it.
He tried to keep the footing, which is fair enough. He was trying to save the car, but unfortunately I was on the inside and he just come directly straight back in my path, so actually nowhere to go.
Car was working very well, but it's a shame for the British fans and for the team and for myself, because that was a good race.
Hey, Steph, is my engine nice and cold or what?
Yeah, Cosworth is looking after them quite well. They're all smiling, so must be cold enough.
I'm just saying, when I come off the track and we start going over the days and I find out that Tonio's engine's 5 degrees cooler than mine again, someone's head's gonna roll.
He goes in for the kill, but 2 hits later, and Rosberg is in the wall. Christian Albers qualified 20th, but he literally locks wheels with teammate Thiago Monteiro. It's not their first collision. This isn't the Wall of Champions, but this ex-title holder never has any luck at his home Grand Prix. Sato ends the afternoon early and breaks a camera while he's at it. Massa gets the inside line into turn 1, but it's hotting up in the midfield. Montoya tries to go round the outside of Button, but hits his teammate and it all spirals out of control. Nick Heidfeld is lucky to be unharmed. But that's not the only incident. Webber nearly flips over Klein, leaving the back of the field to take evasive action. Lap 1, 2 big incidents and 7 cars out. It was a nasty looking accident. So what went through the minds of those involved?
Probably the biggest mistake I did after that was to lift my hands over my helmet. I should have kept them in front of my chest.
And right here you can see Montoya hitting the back of Kimi and then into Button, which caused Heidfeld to flip, and then basically a wall of cars to come to the outside of the track where we were. So through no fault of our own, we were collected into the accident.
Chasing Montagny, he lost the back of the car and speared over the curbs. This wheel rim failure harmed his aerodynamics and his French Grand Prix. The youngest Japanese driver to start in F1 had a rather troublesome weekend with technical problems on Friday. On Saturday morning he left the track at the last corner and had a heavy impact with the wall, wrecking his new car. Now Ralf Schumacher makes a mistake, can't avoid contact with Coulthard. Rosberg's pushing hard on the opening lap, maybe too hard. He loses the back of the car, careers across the gravel and into the wall. It's a bad day for Villeneuve. He even gets a good view of a rare error from Fernando. Need to get it back on track without damage or losing a place. Before qualifying even began, there was controversy. Fernando Alonso felt Robert Dornbos hindered a flying lap during Friday's second practice. Alonso was deemed to have deliberately brake-tested the Red Bull and was handed a 1-second time penalty for each part of qualifying. This was in addition to another 1-second penalty he received for overtaking under waved yellow flags later in the session. Jenson Button's fiery car brought out the red flag in Saturday practice, landing him a 10-place penalty for a new engine, but it was the other championship contender that made a big mistake. Kubica followed Alonso and both slowed in response to the flag.
Come in slowly, mate. Come in very gently.
But Michael passes them both. And he too gets a 2-second time penalty for each part of qualifying. It's not exactly plain sailing at Renault. Liuzzi went wide to let Raikkonen through, but Kimi didn't expect him to slow and can't avoid driving over the Toro Rosso. A clout from Schumacher won't help, but does the Ferrari more harm. Now something falls off his car, leaving him with plenty more tyres at his disposal. That's it for Renault.
What happened is a dry shaft gone.
They avoid contact, but Michael also avoids the chicane. Still no contact. Still no chicane. There's slight contact and Schumacher still misses that chicane. Their line squeezing out Alonso while Fisichella spins to avoid Fernando. Now it's anyone's game. Ralph hits his teammate, loses his front wing. Raikkonen takes a hit from behind, There'll be plenty of pit action. Fisichella braked to avoid Alonso but hit Heidfeld. Raikkonen took a side swipe from a spinning speed and everyone else got caught out. The offending piece is removed and he rejoins. But Kimi goes into turn 4 with no rear end grip. Alonso's out. So is Kubica. They're side by side in the pit lane. And Alonso edges ahead with Kubica and Massa behind. Massa has to brake suddenly. It's Alonso. Unbelievable. His engine fails him.
It's really treacherous out there right now. We're hydroplaning in a couple areas, so we just need to wait until the very end.
Too late. Gallo comes from nowhere. Christian Albers has a lucky escape. A horrific mechanical failure could have been much worse. Second placed Alonso cannot believe what he sees. The Ferrari is trailing smoke from a dying engine. His last engine failure was in France 2000. Just when both championships had been in his grasp, the situation has been turned upside down. Webber brakes late and gets hit by his teammate. For the second year in a row, neither Williams makes it to the finish in Brazil. Now he exits the race in dramatic style. A safe second place ensures Fernando Alonso is only the 8th back-to-back world champion, and he's the youngest ever. Renault and Alonso call it a day with both championships in the bag.
Thank you. Fantastic job. Fantastic. All season. All season. Thank you for all these years. It has been a pleasure for me to work with you. With this success, I wish you the best for the future.
Michael ends his career 13 points behind, but his impact on the sport is indelible. Massa did well to beat Fisichella and Raikkonen. Nick Heidfeld put in a strong performance. Ralph beat his teammate, while De La Rosa did well in only 8 races. Rosberg hasn't scored since the Nürburgring. Klein didn't finish the season, and Liuzzi got the solitary point for Toro Rosso. 8 drivers failed to score this season. Only 5 points decided the constructors. McLaren were a long way back, Honda and BMW were consistent, while Williams didn't meet their target. Toro Rosso got 1 point, but Midland and Super Aguri will want more in 2007. So as F1 says goodbye to Michael Schumacher, champion Fernando Alonso says au revoir to Renault and Giancarlo's E-Spec RS26 engine in the traditional manner.